Anna Paulina Luna says she got men in blacked. What? Okay, let's talk about that and a whole lot more. It's time for another UFO News Roundup, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, here is what Anna Paulina Luna told Grant Mitt.
Ask you this. I know we briefly talked. Tell me about your own. You've heard about the UAPs, UFOs.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, tell us about that.
So I got Men in Blacked. I know a lot of people are going to be like, "That's crazy," but ultimately, what happened is, being a member of Oversight, we follow up with whistleblowers, and we also can conduct our own investigations. So myself, Representative Burchett from Tennessee, and Representative Gates were on a small codel to the Panhandle because a whistleblower came forward from Eglin Air Force Base pilots to Representative Gates' office saying that the Air Force was essentially covering up UAP activity and we needed to look into it. So we coordinated the meeting. Pentagon tried to initially cancel the first one. We got it back on the books. We show up there and we get in, and the base commander tried to basically tell us that we didn't have authorized clearance to look into and speak to some of the witnesses, of which you don't tell Congress that we don't have the authorized clearance, especially members of House Armed Services, Oversight, and Judiciary. So I kind of had it out with the base commander, which is kind of funny because this guy really thought that he had it going on, and he actually, in the middle of our meeting, he took off on leave, which never happens with a delegation going to military base. But then also too, we had pretty sure people from the agency that were there as well. And so you really don't find that. I've worked at Hurlburt Field. I worked in the military for a number of years. And so why would a intelligence agency need to be there on a meeting for whistleblowers? So that happened. I can tell you, based on my investigations, not in a classified setting, that I absolutely believe that there is things that are advanced technologies not of human origin. And then we conducted the interview with David Grush. As you saw, it was one of the most widely attended congressional hearings in U.S. history.
So there you go, Anna Paulina Luna's take on the Eglin Air Force Base incident. We've heard a lot about that from Matt Gaetz. He was the one that they actually showed some stuff to. They kicked Anna and Tim out, but they actually showed Tim some stuff. Matt some stuff. But yeah, one more example of the cover-up. I wouldn't exactly call this the Men in Black, though. That's the scarier stuff that does tend to happen. For example, here's a story Terry Lovelace tells about him and Lou Elizondo. It's a great interview on that UFO podcast. I highly recommend you check out the full thing, and I'll link to it below. But here is what Terry had to say about them being harassed by black helicopter.
Lou his ancestry, he's Cuban. So he liked the food. It was similar to what he grew up with. And we had a nice meal. It was Lou and his cameraman, me and a friend, and we had a great meal, great conversation. And I'm walking him out to his car. We're all kind of in a little group, and he's in a black Suburban, and his cameraman was about to put a key in the door or open the door to the car, and a large military helicopter, we heard it before we saw it, flew over us by maybe 110 feet, doing 100 miles an hour or something. It was just whoosh. And it was a great ending because Lou didn't see one at my house, but at the restaurant he saw one go up the street, and he just kind of looked at me and went.
That's all you have to say. Here's another example of an encounter with the Men in Black. This one is very alarming, and this is from the U.A.P. Studies podcast, a great interview with this experiencer. She witnessed a UFO, and then some other stuff happened, and one of them was an encounter with the Men in Black, a very scary abduction sort of experience by the Men in Black. Then I'll let her tell it in her own words. You can watch the full interview at UAP Studies podcast, and again, I will link to that below. But check it out.
So I remember taking a shower, going into the private. It's not like a communal area. Shutting the door, getting in the shower. I remember being in the shower, and then the next thing I know, I'm sitting in the TV room. Other patients are around me, and I look down and like I don't remember getting dressed, and it's almost like somebody else dressed me,
She's in the TV room of the hospital.
or I dressed in a hurry because I had an undershirt on, but only the top button was done, and I would never do that. It just is not how I wear clothes. And then this woman sits down next to me and she's like, "Are you Sydney Morrison?" I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, "While you were in the shower, like I said, these men in expensive black suits were asking where you were." And I was like, "Oh," like, and I was still very kind of out of it. Like, I
Phase hazy. Yeah.
hazy, totally, just felt weird. Felt like I was in a trance a little bit. So I didn't really respond to her. I was just like, "Oh, okay." Like, I think I knew something had just happened, and to me that like confirmed that something had just happened, and I didn't ask any further questions because I was pretty like something. I was not like my normal self.
And this
So
feed
So there you go. She was abducted out of her shower by the men in black. This sounds much like a Me Lab sort of thing. That's what Me Labs abductions tend to be, is that people who are already abductees or contactees of UFOs, of genuine UFOs, the military or the men in black will then abduct them, in often utilizing a lot of the same technology that the beings utilize. Whether that's gifted or reverse engineered, we don't know, and how much they haven't. What their link is to the control group is also nebulous. We don't really know what the link is. But yeah, so in the My Labs, they will abduct people that are already experiencers, and they will interrogate them about things like the being's technology and agenda and that sort of things. And there are also tales of abuse by those military people during those encounters. Very scary stuff. And, sometimes they'll perform mind wipes and stuff just like the beings do. But the idea isn't, as Stephen Greer would put it, as a psyop to make UFOs look scary. It's actually to gather intelligence on the UFOs, or at least that's what it looks like from our best evidence. Anyway, a very scary Men in Black experience, and thank you, James, for alerting me to this story. Meanwhile, a new article from the New York Post talks about UFO hotspots and where the UFO activity is greatest. UFO map reveals ET hotspots across the U.S. Is your state on the list? Let's go to the immersive viewer. It seems like aliens like to party in Las Vegas too. Data shared by the National UFO Reporting Center shows the U.S. hotspots for UFOs is Lincoln County, Nevada. And I've already talked about that before. Obviously, the area around Area 51 is going to be a hotspot. Lincoln County saw the most UFO sightings across all U.S. counties between 2000 and 23. The county is notably home to Area 51. East Coast hotspots included upstate New York's Hamilton County and Dare County, North Carolina. The center, which operates off user-submitted reports of U.A.P., says nearly 113,000 alien sightings have been submitted between 2000 and 2023. The states with the most sightings in 2023 were California, Florida, Texas, Washington, and New York. And it says sightings are actually going down a little bit. So very interesting. I'll let you read the full article at your leisure, but fascinating stuff. Meanwhile, from Liberation Times, European Parliament member advocates for united approach to U.A.P. in new space law. What? Space law. Member of the European Parliament, Francisco, oh my God, I'm not even going to try it. Guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. Has urged the European Union to gather and evaluate data concerning UAP. G's remarks delivered during the European Parliament's plenary session on the 5th of February coincide with the development of a new European space law, slated to be released in draft form in the coming weeks. This space law initiative is spearheaded by the European Commissioner for the Internal Market, Thierry Breton, in collaboration with the European Space Agency. During the session, G stated, regarding the space law, in the security pillar, there is a gap that needs to be filled. Currently, the EU doesn't have a harmonizing scientific system to report UAP. This topic, which is a serious issue, needs to be addressed and is being dealt with the utmost importance in other countries. Well, I don't know about utmost importance, but it is being addressed somewhat half-assedly with a bunch of, BS and disinfo and cover-up thrown in, but okay. He added, it is fundamental that the EU Commission includes in the European Space Law a program to collect data on UAPs as well as the scientific body to analyze these events in a transparent and public way. Very cool. I love it. Some progress in Europe. Meanwhile, are there 5 to 10 million UFOs around the Earth at all times? What? Well, that's according to the story posted by The Juan. I think Richard Dolan would find these snapshot UFO counts interesting. First, I've heard of an actual number range being named. The most surprising revelation, if true, was that there were no less than 5 to 10 million UFOs or spacecraft around Earth at all times. And here we go. 64-year-old nonfiction book, Flying Saucer Pilgrimage, has a new resonance today in light of an upcoming U.S. government report on UFOs. And it goes through it. There's this couple. They traveled 23,000 miles over a 2-year period, 53 and 55, conducting a detailed oral history of so-called saucerers, those who had witnessed flying saucers. I'd never heard that term before, guys, saucerers. I think it's a little harder to say than experiencers, so I'll stick with experiencers or contactees or whatever. The Reeves, the couple, documented their oral history in a fascinating book, Flying Saucer Pilgrimage, published in 1953, and it's it goes into a lot of depth. I'm not going to get into it at all, but yeah. So apparently, what they were told by an ESP experimenter named Mark Probert was that there were 5 to 10 million UFOs or spacecraft around Earth at all times. That's insane. That's an insane number. But you know what? Almost kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know about 5 to 10 million. That's a lot. But the UFO abduction phenomenon is vast, as I've talked about many times. From our best information, which is the Roper poll done by John Mack, Bud Hopkins, and David Jacobs, and with later additional information by David Jacobs. The Roper poll was done in the 90s. The upshot is that somewhere between 2 to 5% of the world populace are abductees or contactees, and these are people that are taken regularly throughout their lives, weekly, monthly, yearly, generation by generation in many cases. So, it's a vast, robust program. Possibly, if those numbers are accurate, and again, we need some corroboration on that, but they are the best numbers that we have. And, that means that upwards of 200 million people, if it's 3%, may be people that have been abducted by the UFO phenomenon. So 5 to 10 million UFOs to accomplish all of that kind of makes sense, guys. It kind of makes sense. That's a scary ass situation. I kind of hope that's not what's going on. Now, you could say that maybe it's for the good. Maybe, it's to upgrade humanity and the like. I hope that is what is behind the UFO phenomenon, that they are here to help us in some way. There are also scary interpretations of it as well, and I've talked about the pros and cons of both approach many times before on the channel, but I just wanted to throw that out there that although 5 to 10 million UFOs sounds insane, so do the numbers from that Roper poll done by John Mack. and with later additional information supplied by David Jacobs, that could be 200 million people that are contactees or abductees of the UFO phenomenon. It's crazy, guys, but let me know what you think. Okay, on to some more positivity related to UFOs. This is from Nikki Noel, an experiencer. I've shared multiple of her photos and videos. She's one of these experiencers that the phenomenon wants them to record them on camera. And she's able to get lots of UFO footage, from these sightings. And this is a really cool one. Such a sick sighting, she says. This one came down directly above the house, and the amount of high-vibed energy that comes along visually and physically with these sightings is unreal. The rainbow energy is unused potential creative energy. It's how we manifest. Okay, I like it. I like it. Look at this crazy, high vibrational, possibly interdimensional vehicle, supposedly, seen by Nikki Noel. And I believe Nikki. I think she's on the level. I believe she's a genuine experiencer. And I think that is just such a cool sighting of what may be a trans-dimensional vehicle or some sort of something like that. I don't know what it is, guys, but it's pretty cool, and I like the high vibes after that kind of scary article. Speaking of high vibes, it's just a guy chilling with his, was that a groundhog? I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. I think, is that a prairie dog? You tell me what that thing is. But whatever it is, it wants that orange, and it's going to get that orange. I love it. I love it. Okay, I take it back. That's not an orange. Is that an orange rind? Is that a cookie? What is that? What was he eating? Is that maybe an orange chip? I'm going with orange chip. But you let me know what you think he's eating and what that animal is. Last but not least, Dr. John Brandenburg issues a warning to the UFOs. We must have disclosure. You shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. As a free people, with God's help, we reckon with whatever the cosmos throws at us. In fact, I believe we have a lot of friends and allies in the heavens as well as enemies. In any case, UFOs fly using powerful electromagnetism. We can detect them with the magnetometers. We can bring them down with microwave pulse weapons. If the Greys are truly intelligent, they should show this by not trying to F with us. Again, I hope the UFO presence is largely positive. My interactions with the phenomenon and with the greater phenomenon have all been very positive. So I'm very positively disposed toward the phenomenon in general, and I don't mean to spread fear. But at the same time, I don't want to have my blinders on either. And, so it is what it is, guys. But let me know what you think about this and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Grab some merch in the merch store, become a channel member, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.